You hung on that cross, and everyone thought you lost.
Courts of Praise Worship Center in Phenix City is proud to present Beyond the Walls to our community. You'll find more about us online at courtsofpraisepc.com. Dress is casual and the services are awesome. Come join us and feel the power of praise.
We'd just like to welcome today to Beyond the Walls David and Amy Burkett. They're here with us,
Yes.
missionaries to Mexico. And Brother David, I'm just so excited. You shared with us this morning about the mission to Mexico and your family going and just being such a big part of ministry down there. I'd like you just to share with us a little bit how the Lord asked you to do that mission.
Okay, well, you know, I guess all of it's kind of a long process, but to make the story a little shorter, the Lord called us in 1994, and God gave us some clear confirmation. I'll have to say that. That was a miracle in itself. But after God called us and we knew for sure that it was the Lord dealing with our hearts, the both of us, we had to start making plans to leave. And that was in 94. And then it wasn't until 97 that we actually left our jobs. Amy was a registered nurse, and I was painting Kroger grocery stores all over the Southeast. I was doing a lot of traveling at the time and on jobs in different places. But when we come out of our jobs in 97, we started school, went to a missionary school in Mexico, learned the Spanish language.
Wonderful.
Because we couldn't speak Spanish.
That would be an issue, wouldn't it?
That
not
would
Bill?
be an issue. You got to speak the language,
Yes.
you know, to be able to communicate and preach
Yes.
the gospel. So Amy had already learned Spanish in a Southern Union junior college.
Did you speak it Southern style?
I think so.
Did you?
I think we all speak with a little bit of an accent,
Yeah.
some tell us. But anyway, you know, that was when it happened in 97, so we went full time.
So when you got there, how did you proceed to go across the border in that area? Do you have to get a card like they get for us, or how do you proceed to get across like
We
that?
actually went in at one point as a teachers.
Okay.
We got what they call an FM3, and it's almost like a visa type status
Okay.
that you can actually go into Mexico. You can live in Mexico and do the work that you're going to do. But actually that was later on, but that was just one of the ways that you can go in.
How did
you
the
know.
people accept you? How did they receive you when you came to them?
They opened arms, just with open arms. A lot of the people, and they're very hospitable people. We've seen people get out of their own beds and let us sleep in their
They would
beds.
sleep on the floor.
Yeah,
Oh my.
sleep on the floor, right? I mean,
That's
it's
precious.
just incredible. A lot of people don't realize this, and for all of our listeners, Mexico is about 50% indigenous language. They call them indígenas.
Okay.
And they speak dialecto, which is a dialect Indian language other than Spanish.
Okay.
So with the 100 million plus that live in Mexico, you've got 50% of that speaks an Indian dialect. So when we learned Spanish, you know, we still had to use translators when we were traveling in Oaxaca and the mountains of, you know, San Luis and different big, huge mountain ranges, and you would experience a lot of dialect Indian language. But
Wow.
just open arms. People just love you down there.
That's
They
wonderful.
do, yeah.
And y'all had how many children?
We have 5.
5 children. And you take them all with you on the missions?
We did when they were all at home. Like I said, we have 2 older. My oldest is 24. She's married now, and they have our first grandchild, and so we're happy about that. His name is Elisha.
Wonderful.
And our son is 21. His name is Joshua, and we have the 3 girls that are now with us, Hannah, Esther, and Rebecca. And they're 14, 12, and 8.
Wow.
And it is a challenge, especially when we had them all 5. It was definitely a challenge to have them all, but they're a blessing, and they've always no matter where we go, it's really been amazing to see. People will say, well, how do your kids, you go to these places and they don't have a restroom and they don't have, you have to bathe out of a 5-gallon bucket and, your poor kids. And I'm thinking, you've got to be kidding. My kids thought it was one great big adventure, we had to go and, bathe in the river, they give me the shampoo, and they had a wonderful time. They never looked at it as though they were suffering, so to speak, when we had no air conditioning and no heat and none of those things, but my kids looked at it like a great big adventure, a camping trip, so to speak, and they really enjoyed it.
That's wonderful. They shared a beautiful song this morning, so I know they help you in ministry as well.
Yes, they do.
Beyond the Walls, presented by Courts of Praise Worship Center in Phenix City, and brought to you by Phenix Dragstrip, where racers, fans, and families come together for the best drag racing action in the Southeast. Building Unlimited, our name says it all, because we build it all. Commercial or residential, we've got you covered. Cuts Unlimited, from residential lawn maintenance to full commercial landscape design and installation, call us first. J.L. Thomason Builders, over 22 years of quality home and commercial building and remodeling. J.L. Thomason, quality guaranteed. And Westwood Properties, beautiful and spacious apartment homes in Phenix City. Call us today and move in tomorrow. Thanks to all of our fine sponsors for bringing Beyond the Walls to everyone in our community.
Well, you were sharing with us about building homes down in Mexico for the people, and showed us some pictures this morning, just mere shacks basically out of cardboard.
That's right.
And
that's right. Well, I'll first of all start out by saying that one of the things that God dealt with our heart about when we started building houses is a way that we could win the confidence of the people. And when you win somebody's confidence, you can minister to them and you can love them. And we looked at relationship, and we knew God's a God of relationship.
Yes.
It teaches in the Word, in John 3:16, how God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son. So if God is willing to do that with His Son, and He came to this earth and He died that mankind might have everlasting life, we understand that God is that God of relationship. Yes. And so when the Lord started speaking to me about building homes, we knew relationship had to be a big part of it. And we knew that we had to minister to the people and to love the people and to get to know the people. And so normally I ask everybody when I'm building a house, if I build you a house today, will you be my friend tomorrow? And the answer is always yes. And I'll ask all of our listeners, if I build you a house today, would you be my friend tomorrow? And I know that you can agree that that's one way that we can win the confidence of the people.
Yes.
And so it don't matter if it's during the day, during the night, we can drive up to that little house that we've built, get out of the van, and we can go in and minister Christ. We can love them. We make friends with them. And the Lord's given us just a tremendous harvest of souls. We just finished up number 300. 300 houses. That's been over about an 8-year period of time that we've been able to do that.
It costs about, what, $2,000 or so?
It's $2,000, and that's from the ground up.
To build a house.
To build a house. And I want everybody to understand, when you build a house, that's something that lasts a long time. It's a gift that keeps on giving.
Yes.
Every day them people get up out of the bed, they got a house. I mean, it's when it pours down raining
There's
outside, there's shelter. Now, they don't have any running water, and they don't have any electricity, but they do have some good shelter. And it's got windows and doors in the house. It's got a nice 30-year shingled roof on it. They got a nice floor. I mean, that's been concrete poured, and so it's great. It really is. It's great.
What about the food? How do you get food down there to them? Is that an issue? Does the government allow you to do that, or?
That's been a challenge for us. Well over nearly 16 years. We have what I call an ant mentality when you're crossing food into Mexico, because it's only a little bit at a time. And occasionally they will allow me to bring like 1 ton or 3 or 4 tons across at one time. But that is very, very few times in a year that I'm able to do that. Most of the time, it's a little bit of time. The Mexican government has its laws and regulations. Of course, we know that the food that we're getting is good food. It's food in date, beans and rice and the manna packs that we get from Feed My Starving Children.
Tell us about the manna pack, what that consists of.
A manna pack, and if I had one, I would show it to you right now. But the manna pack is a mixture of rice. It's got soy in it. It's vitamins, a lot of nutrients in the package. It's also got dried potatoes and dried carrots.
Okay.
And when you cook that, it actually expands. We open one little package and the package is a very small package, but it'll feed a family of about 6 people.
It's wonderful.
And we've got literally, pallets that is waiting to be crossed across into Mexico. But because, it's kind of difficult to get that into Mexico, we're having just to do that a little bit at a time. So it's a very, very big challenge for us to get food into Mexico.
You really need a lot of prayer in that area.
Need
That
a lot of
doors
prayer.
will be opened.
For all the listeners today
Yes.
that is listening, if you can just pray and
That'd be
ask the Lord to open that door, because we need some help in that area.
Are you ever concerned, like the cartel we hear on the news, about how dangerous it is down there, with all the drugs and that type of thing, and trying to secure the border, which they haven't yet? Do you have a concern of that, taking your family and your children down there?
Well, yeah, it is. It's obvious that we do, but we can't, I guess, allow circumstances in life to override what God's called us to do. We do pray every day. When we're crossing the bridge, we ask for the Lord to give us safe passage and going in and coming out of Mexico. But I don't let that hinder me. I don't let that, the news and the media dictate what God wants to do in my life or through my life. So we just, by faith, every single day, get up and trust God for what we need that day. There has been times that God has said, don't go. He's given what I call a red flag in my spirit, and me and Amy both, has said, you know what, today is not a good day.
Today.
For some reason, God is wanting us to stay home today, and we've done that on several occasions.
Have you ever heard of something happening when the Lord told you that?
Absolutely.
So it was just confirmed that He really spoke to you.
That's exactly right. And so I guess what I'm trying to say to everybody listening is that you have to be sensitive to the Spirit of the Lord.
Yes.
When God is saying, do this, do that, maybe wait today, and so you need to know, when to move. And so the Lord has really helped us through all of that and given us grace. And
I know that your father had come several times to the church.
oh yeah,
And he's a great supporter of your ministry.
He is.
And that's one. Today's,
He is.
a day that we're honoring that, and so I thought I'd bring that up. That he's an awesome person.
He is. My
That's
dad, I guess my dad is responsible for planting the seed of ministry in my life.
Yes.
And I'll have to say thanks to my father for that, because he raised me right.
Yeah.
And his heart was always going to the mission field. And
Now you fulfilling what his heart was.
absolutely. When I was
wonderful.
5 years old, my dad went to the mission field for the first time, and he come back with presents, and it was just all the time my dad would go. My father would go to Mexico, and he'd stay sometime for a month or 2 months at a time, and then he'd come back home. He never was there full time. So, but the seed that he planted in my life is incredible, and because of that today, me and Amy both are our first generation of full-time missionaries on the
Wonderful.
field. Nobody has ever done it in my family before, nor in her family before.
But you raised 5 that's probably going to
Praise
continue.
God.
Well, our oldest daughter, she's 24, and her husband, Christian, he's 26, I think.
That's right, he is.
And our first grandson, they're preparing right now. They've already said that God has called them to San Luis Potosi. On the video this morning, you've seen them there ministering. They've already been, and so that's their they feel like God has already called them to
That's
San Luis
incredible.
Potosi. And then within the next year, they plan on going full time as well and to live down in San Luis.
That's just wonderful.
We thank God for that. It's
That's
wonderful.
just wonderful. Well, how long will you be here in the States?
Well, this time our trip is going to be a little shorter than normal.
Okay.
Normally we're traveling for anywhere from 2 to 3 months on the road, but this year we are going to cut our trip a little short this year. We got so much going on in the mission field. It's hard to leave. So we'll be going back on the 20th of this month, going back to Mexico. So,
And we just want to thank you for being here and sharing with us. And
Amen.
I just believe that you've just begun.
Amen.
I don't believe
believe
that you even have seen what God
Amen.
has in store. I believe that it's just going to be beyond the walls.
That's right. You know, I'd like to say one other thing, Twyla, is that if anybody is out there today that would, maybe a church, maybe another youth group or anybody, maybe a men's ministry, a ladies' ministry, that would like to come to Mexico, me and Amy would like to invite you to come to Mexico. We have facilities in Texas that the groups can stay in. We have dorms for men, dorms for ladies, and your youth group can come and participate and be a part of what God's doing in Mexico. Come build a house, you know, come feed 1,000 people.
I bet their
mean,
life would be totally changed when they came
let
back.
me tell you, I've seen people come over the years, and when they get there, they leave completely different.
Changed.
I'm talking about
Appreciating
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, it's not about how much I can get and give me more,
Right.
give me more, give me more. But we need to have the attitude
What
of
can I give?
God, what can I
Yes.
give? And Lord, I'm blessed already.
Yes.
You know, beyond measure. And if you ever come to Mexico, just be prepared to receive a blessing, because them people are going to bless you
Bless you.
before you leave. You'll be blessed.
Well, you've been a
Amen.
great blessing to us, both of you and your children.
Thank you.
And hopefully we'll see you again real soon.
Thank you.
I know you
Yes,
usually
look forward
come
to it.
yearly
I
to
do.
the States, and we just pray God go with you and keep you and protect you, and His shadow just be over you at all times, you
Thank
and your
God.
children.
We
And we
receive
love
it.
you.
Amen.
God bless
Love
you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Twyla.
Beyond the Walls, presented by Courts of Praise Worship Center in Phenix City, and brought to you by Phenix Dragstrip, where racers, fans, and families come together for the best drag racing action in the Southeast. Building Unlimited, our name says it all, because we build it all. Commercial or residential, we've got you covered. Cuts Unlimited, from residential lawn maintenance to full commercial landscape design and installation, call us first. J.L. Thomason Builders, over 22 years of quality home and commercial building and remodeling. J.L. Thomason, quality guaranteed. And Westwood Properties, beautiful and spacious apartment homes in Phenix City. Call us today and move in tomorrow. Thanks to all of our fine sponsors for bringing Beyond the Walls to everyone in our community.
We're here with Dr. Beatty at the West Georgia Eye Care Center in their new outpatient surgical center. Dr. Beatty, it's just awesome to be with you today.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure having you here, and we hope and pray that our conversation will enlighten people of what we do here and what I do personally and what God has called me to do so.
Well, I know you've been a great blessing to many. You are a blessing to our family. My husband was in for surgery a few years ago, and thank the Lord for his eyesight, and it was helped through your abilities.
Well, you know, eyesight's very precious, and it's just a wonderful privilege and joy to be able to take someone who's blind and do an operation and make them see again. Although, for me personally as a believer, I feel like spiritual eyesight is far more important than physical eyesight. And that's what I'm about, both here and overseas when I go do my mission work, as you've heard about.
I agree, and we heard that you're leaving next week, going back to Africa. You've been there many times.
I heard that you lived there actually 4 years.
Well, we did. That was from 2000 to 2004. We just felt the call, my wife and I, to join a mission organization, and we moved to a place called Bulawayo, second largest city in Zimbabwe, which is southern Africa, about just north of South Africa. And we spent 4 years there. My children were young, and you know, it's strange, isn't it? The parents feel called.
Yes.
The children have to go. They have no choice.
And I talked with one of your employees when we were here, I believe it was last week, and she told me how wonderful your children are. She said they're not spoiled like most doctors' children.
Well, the thing about moving to a place like that, then they have a new world view. They have an understanding what things are like in regards to being appreciative of what we have here in this country. We are so blessed here, of course, here. And so they had that experience where they now came back to America, and they realized the blessings we have and the privileges they have, of course. You know, so it gave them a new perspective on life. In fact, my two girls are surrendering to mission type work even now in their lives. So we're excited about what God did through us in those 4 years over there. It was well worth it as we were there.
That is so awesome. Well, this trip, what are you seeing that you might accomplish while you're there?
Well, this is a special trip because next Friday I will be taking a team of doctors, Dr. Lee McCluskey,
Okay.
Dr. Butch Wolf, and their wives.
Okay.
And we have a medical student and the hospital publicity lady who is going to be kind of documenting the trip. We're taking a sister relationship from St. Francis Hospital and a Catholic hospital in the city of Bulawayo. The hospital's name is Mater Dei Hospital. Mater Dei means Our Mother. And the hospitals are very similar in their backgrounds, their origination, and their present state. But the healthcare system in Africa is very, very poor because of about 10, 15 years of economic hardship there. The healthcare system's gone way down. So these doctors and I will go there, we'll do a skills exchange and cultural exchange program we've started up. And so they're the first team who's going to go with us.
Wow.
And we've got lectures planned. We've got doctors who will receive them, and they'll go into surgery with them and do cases and hopefully teach each other. There's things there that they may better teach us in their surgical techniques. And of course, these doctors here with our medical system here, a lot of the things we do are far more advanced than Zimbabwe, yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it'll be 2 weeks, and we're excited about this first round. It's a pretty crucial trip because it will launch this relationship and has the potential of actually changing the whole healthcare system in southern Zimbabwe. Southern Zimbabwe, this one hospital covers probably 2 or 3 million people in that area. And so we are excited about the possibilities.
That is wonderful. So do you go out in the bush when you're there or anything like that?
Oh, I do, yes. This trip, I'll spend part of the time in the city of Bulawayo. It's a city of 1 million people. It actually has 3 big hospitals.
Okay.
It's a Catholic hospital and it has 2 government hospitals. And our doctors will do most of their work at the Catholic hospital, but there'll be some lectures. They'll bring other doctors from the hospitals together. Then I personally have already got a couple of eye camps planned in a very rural village area. We take used eyeglasses that are donated to us through individuals or organizations.
So people do they bring them here that you take? Or?
We do. We have a place up front in our office that people can come and take their old glasses. Reading glasses are very important for us.
That's awesome.
We've gathered thousands of pairs of glasses. I've given out in Zimbabwe probably 4,000 or 5,000 pairs of glasses in the last few years.
So do you check the eyes so you know which pair of glasses?
That's correct.
Okay.
We take the glasses here, we measure them in our machines.
Okay.
We will sort them into different powers. And then my wife, who's the self-designated optician, she has a little place that we use in either a school building or a church we'll go to or a community center. And of course, they've given the word out to people ahead of time. And they come in and I measure their eyes. I do an examination, a quick exam. I decide whether they need glasses or whether they need medications. If they need an operation, we have district hospitals that the government runs that I go and do eye camps at these government hospitals. And so we then I finish that part of the examination, and then my wife will receive the patient if they need glasses. She sorts through them and we give them a pair of glasses. We've seen some amazing things. I'll give you an example. Last year, a little girl who was 9 years old, now she was -16, which is extremely nearsighted.
Oh my.
The night before, we were sorting through glasses, and I came across a pair of child's glasses, and I measured them on my machine. They were -16.25, which is almost exactly the same as the pair of glasses you need. I had no idea ahead of time she'd be coming, And the Lord just knew that in advance and opened that
worked it out.
situation up. And of course, she got those glasses and it changed her whole world. Just
That's
to
so
her glasses.
awesome.
Yeah.
We'll be back in just a moment.
Okay.
Courts of Praise Worship Center in Phenix City is proud to present Beyond the Walls to our community. You'll find more about us online at courtsofpraisepc.com. Dress is casual and the services are awesome. Come join us and feel the power of praise.
We're back with Dr. Beatty, and he's going to be telling us how he got started taking these wonderful trips to Africa. Dr. Beatty, just tell us all about that.
Well, I'm not sure if you know this, but my parents were missionaries.
Wow.
And when I was 3 years old in 1959, so you know how old I am now?
You're still young.
Thank you very much. They took my brothers and I and boarded the Queen Mary, New York City, and went across to Africa. Took them 40 days to do that.
And the Queen Mary is not like the cruises today.
Not at all, not at all.
It was a little different.
There are a lot of things I could tell about that. It's a long story. So I grew up in Southern Africa. I know the people, I know the language, I know the culture, and of course I developed a love for those people. I finished high school there, came back to the States and went to university, and I wanted to do medicine. And the Lord called me into ophthalmology through a number of events in my life. and looking back upon it, I just realized the great things I can do in ophthalmology to really help to show people His love, you know.
Well, when you minister to people, then they're automatically going to hear what you had to say about Jesus.
That's right. Again, as I mentioned before, that as you open physical eyes,
Yes.
then spiritual eyes can be then open
That's
as
true.
people are willing to hear what you bring to them. Because in Africa they say, why did you come here all this way to help us?
Yes.
And we say, because it's grace, it's God's grace that He bestowed upon us, so we want to give you grace.
Right.
And sometimes that gives me a little bit of an emotional feeling as I think about what I'm about, you know.
Yes.
So we started doing mission trips when I finished my residency and started practice here. I went to different parts of the world. I went to India and Southern and South America and Central America. But the Lord kept on drawing back to Africa. And in 1997, my wife and I were asked to go to a mission hospital in Zimbabwe for 7 months. So we took our children and we stayed there for 7 months, did surgery and ministered to people there. And then He called us back in 2000 for 4 years to go back to the same organization and to a different city, but to set up a new ministry there, both in teaching and in a practice and also in outreach through different Great Commission groups. I work through all Great Commission groups using medicine as a platform to spread the gospel.
That's awesome. So you were there as a child.
I was.
So are your parents still there, or are they
No, they're both deceased now.
both deceased? And your siblings?
I have 3 brothers. One lives in South Africa, one lives in Australia, and one lives in the United States.
So the one in South Africa, is he in ministry there? Or?
He's a psychologist, so I have to work on him a little bit.
Do you? Well, we all need some work, don't we? Well, when you come back, we would love to interview you again and see what happened and let us know exactly your progress over there. And
It'll be a great privilege to do so. I'm excited about our trip coming up, and I think there'll be a lot of wonderful things to share with you as we come back. Okay.
We know Dr. Wolf and Karen, and we're just excited for them. We know they're going to really enjoy this trip.
Oh, they will. There'll be a lot of new things they'll enjoy, as well as teach those people over
That
there.
is so awesome. Well,
God bless you.
it's just awesome to have you today, and we're going to be praying for you.
Thank you, Twyla. I would appreciate your
We're
prayers.
gonna-
That God would
yes.
use us, He would empower us, protect us, and provide for us, and just make us shine lights for His glory.
Yes, that's awesome. God bless you.